Hey, it is an unstoppable day. Good evening, everybody. It's Terrance Leftridge, your accountability coach, with a new episode of Talking Small Business with Terrance. Talking Small Business with Terrance, where we talk to small business owners about their tools, tips, and strategies of how they've been able to overcome their trials and tribulations so that you can move from being stuck to being unstoppable in your business. So come on in, like and share. Come on in, like and share. We're not going to be with you long this evening, but we will be with you strong, giving you some great advice from one of our TSBT experts. Now, as you're coming in, we want you to just be interactive with us. Go on over to the comment section and leave your comments in the section, whether you're asking a question, whether you're liking what our guest is putting down and you just want to give them a high five, whether you like what I'm saying and you just want to give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and put that information. Make sure that you're sharing your name. Make sure that you're also letting us know where you're watching us from. And if you're watching us live, put that number 1. And if you just happen to be watching the replay, put that number 2. We thank you so much for always following us here on the Terrance Leftridge Network with all of our shows, this one being Talking Small Business with Terrance. And we're going to be talking to you on this episode. We're going to be talking about your financial health. That's our topic for this episode of Talking Small Business with Terrance. Because as we know, we are now into the second quarter of 2021. And thank God we have made it this far, especially everything that we've gone through over the last 16 months. And in 2021, you had the extra benefit of being allowed to have a little bit of extra time with your taxes, filing those taxes. Normally, they would have been turned in by April 15th, but this year we got an extension till May 17th. So hopefully you guys took advantage of that extension and you got your information in on time and you don't have to look at any penalties. But now that you've filed your taxes, whether it was your personal or your business taxes, maybe now you got a return in your business. Maybe you got a return in your personal taxes. Now what? What are you going to do to secure your financial health right now, moving into the future? Well, we've got somebody who is going to help you answer those questions and hopefully move you in a path towards financial health. He is the owner of his own business consulting group called More Business Group. And we're going to welcome my good friend, distinguished Toastmaster as well, Mr. Tony Moore, to the TSBT. Hey, Tony.
Hey, how you doing, sir? Good to see you again.
Good to have you on again. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Moore of Moore Financial Service Group. Give him a warm welcome. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm here in Georgia, away from my home, visiting my grandkids, and remembering the days when I had little ones running around.
Well, I'm sure that is a fabulous opportunity anytime you get to see people in person, especially after what we've gone through over the last 16 months. That is truly a blessing. So now I'm going to take the opportunity to give you the stage, and I always know my guests can give a better introduction than I can. So take a second or a minute to let them know who Tony Moore and Moore Financial Service Group is all about.
Well, Tony Moore is a former engineer who decided that I wanted to help people in a more proactive way. I saw an opportunity in the financial field to help people that look like me, because there's a lot of misinformation and lack of information that was available. So I formed a company several years ago and started to really just focus on insurance and then investment and then taxes, because we've become what is considered a comprehensive or full service financial planning service or planning company. Planning being the key, because no matter what you do, if you don't have a good plan, more than likely you won't get the results that you've been looking for or the results that you want. And planning is a multidisciplinary approach to it. There is your taxes, there's risk management, there's investment, there's what's happening in your personal life. So all of those things have to come into play when putting a plan together. You can't just pick one or two things and then say, okay, I've got a good financial plan. So whether you're in business or you're just a person, a married couple or single, all of those things have to come together. And in most cases, a lot of people are trying to do it on their own, picking in a ad hoc way information from different sources. So there is no cohesive way of really putting a plan together that will allow them to adjust to the changes that may occur in their lives. And that may, but will occur in their lives. And so we've been doing this since 1984. I've been doing this full time since 1993.
Wow, that's a mighty long time, and you're only 36, right? How have you been able to do it and still look so fresh after dealing with numbers since 1984? What's your secret?
Well, the secret is having a good relationship with your spouse and focusing on the things that give you joy and pleasure, other than just thinking about how can I get rich or how can I accumulate more toys. So trying to balance that and living a healthy life. For the most of my life, I've been a vegetarian. So, I have a pretty, decent, not perfect, type of diet. I exercise on a regular basis. So all of those things go together in creating the type of life that you want, the type of lifestyle, the joy that you can get out of living. We always say you have to enjoy the journey. It's not just about how can I make more money, how can I achieve more in my career. You have to try to balance, and that in itself is a difficult task, trying to balance all of those different issues that you have to deal with. So, if you have a good partner, then it becomes a lot easier to do those things.
Well, that is a great, great, great statement. And we'll probably have to bring you back later on in the month when we talk about emotional and physical health, because that's definitely a key, having that balance. But we're talking about financial health tonight. And so let me ask you, you do this on a daily basis. You talk to people about their finances. You talk to people about their tax situation. You help them plan in certain ways for their future financial needs. What do you think when we talk about the financial health of your customers as a whole? What have you been seeing in your experience?
Well, as for the financial health of our clients, the thing that we focus on is to empower our clients to make good financial decisions and to feel confident about the decisions that they're making. And so we take them through a process of discovery, of enlightenment, meaning asking questions that they may never have thought about, and developing a plan that suits or fits the stage of life they're in. And what we find is that the key for what we have discovered through personal experience a long time ago is that one of the first things that we look at is cash flow. What is your cash flow? Because if you don't have the money when it's time to pay the bill, then that creates a lot of stress. And the money may be coming in, but if it's coming in next month and you need it this month, then that can create that discussion with your significant other. And if you're in business, there are other issues that will not necessarily come out the way that you want to, simply because you don't have the cash on hand to deal with it. So our business structure is to first look at a person's cash flow. So we developed what we call a cash flow management system many years ago, which we use to help our clients and us also look at what's in their lives from a cash flow perspective so that we understand and to point out areas where they may be spending unnecessarily and creating bottlenecks in their cash flow situation.
And so when you look at their cash flow, let's dig a little deeper in that. Is there a formula to say whether you have a negative cash flow or a positive cash flow, or how do you explain that paradigm to your clients?
Okay. So on the personal level, because there are two aspects to it. One is from the business and one is from the personal. From the personal level, one of the things that we first look at is, number one, when is the money coming in? Number two, when are you required to make the different payments that you may have? And number three, you're looking at the bottom line, is what's coming in and what's going out. Is there an excess or is there a deficiency? Is there not enough to pay those bills? So to give you an example, let's say that a person brings in $1,000 a month, okay? But on the 15th of the month, they may have a bill that goes up, but if they don't have enough cash reserves, which is the other side of the equation, having enough cash reserves, what we call a buffer, then when those unexpected or large outlays are required, if they don't have it, then you start to make bad decisions. You may use credit cards unnecessarily, you may dip into your 401k or your IRA, and those have consequences, long-term consequences, which are going to cost you in the long run when you think about retirement and taxes. Taxes are a short-term thing in that situation. So we want to make sure that not only is that the income coming in, but we also look at, is it a reliable income? So for a person who is self-employed, their income may not be as smooth as someone who is working
Yes.
at a regular job. So we have to take those things into consideration. When we look at that, look at how much do they have in their buffer. And in a lot of cases, there's no money in the buffer. So what we do is to create a plan to help them start to build that buffer. Sometimes it's slow and sometimes it's fast. So we want to see that there's a buffer. We want income coming in is enough to meet their expenses. And we want to make sure that they're not spending money unnecessarily.
Did you find, as a side, I guess, especially with us going through the pandemic and the shutdowns that we've experienced over the last 16 months, did you find that you had to add nuances into that cash flow conversation that you were having, particularly with business owners?
Well, when it comes to business owners, one of the things that I've discovered in talking to a lot of business owners, many businesses that I deal with are customers or clients of mine, pivoted in some way and restructured how they do business to generate additional income into the business. Now, there are some people who just completely shut down the business, and because they had enough of a buffer, they could, kind of weather the storm of COVID-19. But not everyone was able to do that. The people who generally were able to do that are the people who had a plan or had a lot of money, from whatever sources it may have come from. So there were no single reaction or trend that I saw necessarily when it came to that, because most of our clients have been with us 10, 15 years. And so they were in a good position to weather the storm. Now, on the flip side of that, we had several new clients coming in because those people weren't prepared or did not have a system in place that would allow them to weather the storm. Say, in Florida, or people who don't live in Florida, we know that there's going to be a hurricane. season.
Right.
And so we prepare for that. We build our houses so to withstand the storm. We buy additional, food supplies and stuff like that so that when it comes, we are ready for it. There always in life, there are always going to be unexpected issues that come up. And this is one that nobody expected. This is what we call a black swan event. It was never seen in
Okay.
our lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and so no one was really prepared for it. But if you approach life with, okay, I'm going to prepare for the unexpected, and I'm going to set aside a little bit of something. If something happens, at least I can weather this storm. Then no matter what happens from a financial perspective, it'll still be tough. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be difficult. You may have to tighten your belt a little bit. You do things you plan on doing, but overall, you'll be able to go through those tough times and be okay on the other side of it.
I love that. We're talking with Tony Moore of Moore Financial Services. We're talking about your financial health on Talking Small Business with Terrance. You guys feel free to join the conversation. I think we might have frozen up a little bit. So we got a comment that we were frozen. I'm looking on my screen. It looks like it's going through okay. So I'm going to assume that we are still live and clicking. So make sure you guys, if you have any comments, if you have any questions for our guests, you go ahead and throw them on in the comment section. And in the less than 20 minutes that we have, we'll make sure we get those questions on. So as I said in the intro, because of the pandemic, we had an extension on our taxes from the normal date of April 15th to May 17th. Tell us a little bit how tax season was for you. And then we want to jump into that question that many people don't ask themselves is when they get that return, whether it's a small return or big return, they don't ask the question of what's next. They don't plan for what they're going to do with their return. So first, tell us, how was this any different type of season because of the pandemic in your business or in the tax industry overall?
For me, this was one of the most stressful tax seasons since I've been doing taxes since 1997. I'm an enrolled agent. I'm licensed by the federal government to represent taxpayers at all levels on all issues relating to taxes. And one of the reasons is because we acquired so many new clients with very complex tax issues. And for some reason, either someone got sick who used to prepare the tax, person's not there, or they had questions that weren't being answered by their tax professional. And so they turn, by referral. All of our clients come to us by referrals, by the way. So they were referred to me to solve issues, and we had a very short time in which to solve some of those issues. So, for probably the first time in many years of doing some international taxation, that's one of the complex areas of taxation that there is. And having to deal with that, and it seems that every person that came in had tax returns that had to be filed, and some of them had to be filed immediately. And so I did a lot of extensions and trying to work with these new clients in trying to understand how they can prevent some of these things from happening in the future. So, usually it's time for me to relax. I sit back and, okay, I got a month off, get ready for the summer, do all the things. And it just kept going, and more people kept. Now, I wasn't complaining because I have an assistant that do a lot of the entry, but this was one of the times when I had to do a lot of tax research to make sure that, the rules and the rules of taxation is changed, and almost every year it's changing. And with these new things that have been coming up, I'll give you one example. This lady, she had a rental property, and she was preparing her taxes for ever since she owned this property for the past 10 years. The problem is she
Right.
was doing it incorrectly. And so she was getting ready to sell it. And if she had sold it, she would have been $25,000 in taxes. And again,
Wow.
her realtor recommended that she talk to me. And now I had to go to correct that in order for her to avoid that big unnecessary tax hit. So it was enjoyable in one sense, but very stressful in another because of the time crunch, so to speak. But you know, that's part of what we do sometimes. Sometimes, in our lives, in our business, there are periods of time when we really have to buckle down, so to speak, and get things done in a more time because of the time crunch that we're under. But if we know what we're doing and we have the right team around us, we can pull through those moments.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that we've all learned, no matter whether we're talking about our financial health or just talking about our current situations, this pandemic taught us that, if we fail to plan, we plan to fail. That's
Okay.
a universal law that's out there. So now we have people that have gotten their taxes, they've got their tax return. Now what? What would you be, as a tax professional, as a financial guru? What would you be telling people to start doing now to prepare for the next round? Whether it's their business where they got to now get ready for the quarterly taxes, or whether it's just their personal finances getting ready for next season. What would you tell
Okay.
them to do based upon how the world has changed?
Okay. The first thing that they will want to start doing or thinking about is creating some sort of a plan, whether it's a financial plan or a tax plan. I do a lot of tax planning for my clients. Now, one of the things that I discourage our clients from doing is getting a big fat tax refund. Now, that's counter to what you may hear from a lot of tax preparation services. And the reason for that is very simple. You're giving the IRS a free loan for a year, essentially, where you could use that money to do so many other things. So opportunity cost is really, there's opportunity cost to that. And I give you an example of what I mean. I had a client who came to me many years ago and had a balance of about $10,000 that he was carrying on his credit cards, which the interest rates was in the 20% range. So he's
Right.
paying almost $2,000 a year in interest to carry that balance. That's
Right.
money that he could have used to do
Do
things
something else.
currently or plan for the future. In the meantime, he was getting back $5,000, $6,000 from the IRS every year. And so when I sat down with him and went through the analysis and showed him what he thought was in getting back a big tax refund, and he decided, you know what, I need to make a change. So we don't have our clients get on a consistent basis big tax refunds. $1,000, okay. But once you start getting into $2,000 or $3,000, you need to then increase your holdings if you're a W-2 person, so that you can get more in your pocket, get it on each paycheck, so you can get rid of some of those credit card bills, or use it to other expenses, or use it to invest for your future. So that's one of the things as part of our planning process that we look at in terms of helping clients stop spending or spending unnecessarily.
So
The other
basically,
thing that we,
you teach them
go
how to
ahead.
learn how to pretty much break even when it comes to tax time. You keep the money
Exactly.
yourself. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And
That's
I gotta
perfect.
admit that was something that I had to learn the hard way in my own life, because I'm sure they don't teach financial literacy in school. You know, they teach
Exactly.
it in the school of hard knocks, but not in the elementary or the public school system. Even
Right.
the private school system doesn't teach a whole lot of it. So all I knew about taxes was what I saw my parents do with taxes or what I saw other people. You know what? You
Hmm.
know, get that big return at tax time, and you go buy or go splurge on that one thing, or you go buy that necessary thing, or you pay off that bill that you couldn't pay off that you said, okay, I'm gonna pay that off when I get my taxes, not realizing that if you just was a little bit more strategic in your finances, then you could be utilizing that extra money now and investing that extra money now, as opposed to, like you said, giving the government a free loan that you're not earning any interest on.
Exactly. So that's one of the areas that, and sometimes it's very difficult for people to accept this new paradigm. They've been so used to it, and people or other tax preparers telling them, okay, we can get you back a big tax refund. Now, there are situations when you get back a tax refund, and there are individuals who get back a big tax refund at the end of the year because they qualify for earned income credit. And even those individuals can get those funds I would say, monthly basis for every paycheck if they know what to do so that it'll make their lives a bit easier. So
Okay.
that's one of the areas when it comes to taxes that we really focus on. The other thing that we look at for individuals who are in the 10 years or closer to retirement, before that is tax planning for the future. Because right now, the tax brackets are at the lowest it's ever been in the history of this country. At one point, it was over 90%. It was like 92%. That was the highest tax bracket. In the 70s, it was something like 7%. And in 2026, it's going to take another jump. And if you look at where the government is in terms of the liabilities that it has to meet, one of the ways that it's going to be able to meet those liabilities is to increase the tax rate. So you have to start planning now in anticipation of that happening in the future so that you can get some tax-free income and be able to keep more of the dollars in your pocket that you've worked so hard for. But you can't wait until then to do it. You have to start now to do that.
Is that something that the average person can do on their own, or is that something that they really need the expertise of a company like More Financial Service Group?
They can do it on their own if they go and get educated in taxation, which
Okay. So basically, they need to come see you. That's what you're saying.
they, right, they need to come see me. But not only that, even someone with good tax knowledge in previous years, the rules have changed and they're constantly changing. So for me, every year I do 40 credits in taxation, 40 continuing education credits in taxation. And
Right.
I do that because I have to keep up with all the changing rules and the changing laws and the little intricacies of the tax code that you have to understand in order to be able to reduce your taxes or eliminate paying unnecessary taxes. So, it's something that you need a professional who understands that area of taxation because not everyone who prepares taxes work in the retirement planning aspect of taxes. Not everyone who are tax preparers knows about passive income and international taxation. So you have to find the right person that will fit the needs that you have when it comes to tax.
I love it. We're wrapping up our conversation with Tony Moore. He's my financial helper. He helped me with my taxes. Now I'm one of those new clients that he talked about, and we're talking about your financial health on Talking Small Business with Terrance. So, if in the waning minutes that we have, Tony, just say the typical person that has now filed their taxes with you, you said now they should start creating a financial plan. Let's tell me maybe 2 or 3 things that they should really be keen on in that financial plan so that they can have a healthier financial future going forward.
Okay. So the first thing is you have to know where you are, meaning financially in this moment in time, where are you? Are you able to pay your bills? Are you strapped? Are you financially stressed? Then you have to relieve that pressure because you can't plan for the future if today is not right. If today you're just, oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can do this. I'm not sure if I'll be able to meet my bills next month. In 2 months or 3 months. If you're not sure about the how that income is going to be coming in, whether it sustainable, is it reliable. So that's the first thing that we are going to be talking about is how is that income? How is it, do you believe, do you see that it's going to be there? And then we start looking at areas of where we can reduce expenses, looking at credit cards, looking at spending habits. We have one client, one of the things that we ask them is eating out. How much do you spend eating out? And just a few weeks ago, and they said, oh, $400. Well, when we analyzed their bank account, it was more like $975 a month that they
Yeah.
were spending eating out, and they didn't even realize that. So the thing that we try to get clients to understand is to bring their attention, is to make them realize where their money is going, even if because they've never really analyzed it or looked at it in such a way. Once we they understand their spending patterns, their spending habits, and we relieve that pressure, then we start to build a buffer if they don't have a buffer. Because you don't want to take from your future on today, which a
Yeah.
lot of people do by dipping into their 401k in different ways. There are tax consequences, the fact that it could deplete your retirement, and it creates a whole nother issue that many people are not aware of on what the true cost of that is. So that's the next thing that we look at. So, it's a series of conversations of gathering information, analyzing that information, and then sitting down and coming back with a preliminary recommendation, going over it. Don't like what can we do? Is refinancing involved? Can we get credit cards at a lower interest rate? All of those things. Can we reduce your car insurance, your homeowner's insurance, your mortgage? All of those things come into play in trying to build a solid foundation that a person can then be confident that in the future they'll be able to meet their financial needs.
I love it. I love it. So know where you are financially, relieve that pressure, reduce those credit cards, reduce the eating out, other expenses, and then start building a buffer. And I'm going to add this last point into it because many people, they run into this problem because they think they have to do it by themselves. They think they got into this mess by themselves, so they have to get themselves out of this mess. So the tip I'm going to add as we close is that talk to a financial professional. Talk to someone like Tony Moore and let them pull you out of the frame so that you can see what the picture actually looks like. Many times we can't see the picture because we're part of the frame. So we need somebody like a Tony Moore to be able to sit down and objectively look at our situation and then strategically help us find ways to improve our financial health. Tony, it's been a blast having you on the show. We could talk so much more about this topic, so we'll have to bring you back on occasion to really continue to talk about our financial health. But if somebody wants to talk to you as that financial professional, how can they get in contact with you to set up a consultation with you, whether it's in person or virtually?
Okay, so you can reach me at HAM, like ham, at ifnmoney.com. That's one way you can reach me. Or you can contact me by phone at 954-382-8877. Now, I do have a Facebook page, a LinkedIn page. What else? What's the other one? Twitter.
Yeah, those are the
Uh,
main ones.
okay, so I must confess, when it comes to those things, total, I am at the other end of the spectrum. Okay, I
But
know
you
very
got
little.
people that'll help you with that.
I no, and the reason why I'm able to tell you that now is because I just hired someone a couple months ago to take care of that for me, and we're just in those beginning stages. And every 2 or 3 times a week, we put out new information regarding various life issues, not just financial issues, but life issues. And so once you get on that, you can check out those pages, figure out how to do. I can't tell you how to do that, but most people can do that nowadays. Eventually, I'll get there, but
Right, right,
that those are
right.
the ways that you can get a hold of me.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you spend a little bit of time with us here at Talking Small Business with Terrance, helping us with our financial health. This is Tony Moore at Moore Financial Services. Make sure you reach out to him. You can you can email him at ham, at ifnmoney.com, or you can call his office, and that's 954-382-8877. So definitely reach out to him. We'll have that information in our comment sections as well. And once again, we thank you, Tony, for hanging out with us. Any last word you want to share with our audience when it comes to helping improve their financial health?
Yes, some people feel they're either afraid or embarrassed because of the mistakes they made. Don't be, because the reason why you go to a doctor is because you're looking for expert help. The reason why you go to a financial doctor or a financial coach or a guide is because you're looking for expert help. If we all knew everything, then we wouldn't need any other professional. We don't do everything by ourselves. We have strategic partners that do specific things for us because we don't we don't have the time, we don't have the knowledge to do the level of detailed work that's necessary to ensure that our clients get what they need in order to fulfill their dreams and their goals. So find a financial professional who just doesn't talk about how much money you have or where to put your investment, but talk about issues in your life that will impact your finances, whether now or in the future. And if you do that and keep educating yourself, you don't have to be an expert, but educate yourself to know some of the basics. You can weather this very complex and turbulent world.
And we're going to give Tony the last word for this episode of Talking Small Business with Terrance. Thank you so much, Tony Moore, Moore Financial Services Group. Again, we're going to put his information in the comments so you can reach out to him. We thank you guys for tuning in and watching us live or in the replay for Talking Small Business with Terrance, where we talk to small business owners to help them help you go from being stuck into being unstoppable. And if you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur, coach, and you want to share your trials, tribulations, tips, tools, and strategies for other small business owners to get unstuck, then just go ahead and email me at tleffridge@unstoppablecoaching.com, or you can go to my contact page at unstoppablecoaching.com as well. Let us know that you're interested in sharing your wisdom. And who knows, you may be the next guest on Talking Small Business with Terrance. And make sure you check out our podcast. We're going to send this episode over to our podcast network, sponsored by Anchor FM. Go on over to anchor.fm/Terrance.Leffridge8, because I'm great. And that's where you can reach and hear all of our previous podcasts on Talking Small Business, as well as my unstoppable thoughts of the week. So now, as we part, I want to leave you with this. Your financial health is just a part of your total health. But if you're not healthy in your finances, you can never be balanced and healthy in your life. So don't sleep on any part of the aspects of your life that needs to be healthy. Trust me, a healthy finance will definitely help you enjoy a healthy life. And with that, wherever you are in the world today, you know what I say. Don't just make it a great day. Put the tools and tips and strategies in place that Tony gave you, and I guarantee you're going to be financially healthy and you'll be able to make it an unstoppable day. Until the next episode, this is Talking Small Business with Terrance. Take care.